welcome back to Linda's Pantry, and today I am going to make a delicious honey wheat bread. And it's a very light wheat bread, and we're going to do it in the Pullman Pan again. And today I'm wearing black, but I've got an apron on. It's really cute. Anyways, just in case, because I tend to get flour on me everywhere. I've already washed my counters down really well, so I'll be able to knead out here on the counter. I'm going to be using my new dough whisk. Now, I'll leave a link in the description box below for one of these if you need one. They're inexpensive. They're made really, really well, so I'll leave you a link for a good one. And they're not cheaply made, but they make this job of mixing, if you don't have a stand mixer. And on my old stand mixer, I tend to have to get in there and help it anyway, so I might as well do the work. And I've got warm water here, not extremely hot. We're gonna do a slow rise on this because once I get this dough put together for its first rise, it's gonna have a pretty long nap because I'm gonna go back to work and do a color. And then I'll come back and we'll finish what we're doing. So I don't need this to be a fast rise. I've got about 4 cups of flour in my bowl. I want 1 cup of whole wheat flour for this recipe. I want it to be kind of light. I don't want a heavy whole wheat at all, so, or wheat. And I use King Arther whole wheat flour. That's the only whole wheat I use. We're gonna need salt. Let's bring you over here so you can see what's going on up close. Okay, so I've got my flour in here. Just take my whisk here. It's already doing a great job. Isn't that cool? It's a very cool whisk. Okay, I am going to need yeast. Now, I've got my warm water here. I'm going to do, for this recipe, 1.5 tablespoons of active yeast. Okay. Then we're going to need to feed this yeast with a little bit of sweet. Now I'm going to add to it, oops, that's my flour. Okay, I'm going to add 1/2 tablespoon or a teaspoon. You don't need a whole lot of sugar to get the yeast feeding a little bit and get it active and get something to eat. Okay, and I'm not worried if, we don't have to worry if it proofs or not. My yeast is kept in the freezer, it's active. In fact, this is a relatively new batch. I buy it in bulk. We are going to need some honey and some oil, and I'm using sunflower oil today. So I'm going to put my oil in my measuring cup first, and for this recipe I want about 1/3 cup of oil, and this is a 1/2 cup measure, but we're going to give it a guesstimation, and this is a really light neutral oil, so we need 1/3 cup, and that, swirl it around in your 1/2 cup measurer because I'm going to put a 1/2 cup of honey in here. And that'll help it not stick to my measuring cup. If that makes sense. Okay, 1/2 cup of honey. And yes, this is a little sweeter bread, but I'll be having some guests this weekend. Whoa, perfect. And we're gonna make French toast, and this is gonna be fantastic French toast for Sunday morning. And we'll have had been able to see, and that just slips right out of there. No worries about not getting all of your honey. And get that a little bit of a mix, not too bad. And we want some couple teaspoons of salt. I use kosher salt, don't use iodized salt. And that's just going to balance. Now, our yeast is actually already it's proofing pretty good. It's starting to bubble up and wake up, and that's just lukewarm water. okay? Not warm like you would for a normal recipe. Get all that out of there. And then we're gonna start with our dough whisk. Isn't that cool? It's easier to use than a spoon because a spoon gets loaded up with all that dough, and this, because of the configuration of the metal, it lets it let go of it. And you can scoop around the sides. You can really get it moving. So we've got about 5 cups of flour in here, and for this recipe, I'm trying to figure, but I think your Pullman pans use about a 5 to 6 cup, I want to say 5 cups of bread dough. 5 cups of flour in the recipe to make it a good bread dough. See, isn't that nice? So now I've got almost all the flour here incorporated. I'm going to turn it out on my counter. And if I don't feel like my dough is wet enough, but it's sticky, but you can see it's not sticking to me. It's not really sticking to me too bad. It's ready to knead. So let's get some flour. And this is where we get messy. I don't want too much. And actually I probably could have done without the flour. So we'll spread it a little off to the side there and see what we got. And let's get our dough turned out with my dough whisk. Oh, love it. Yay. And I'm going to knead this. I'm going to do what I call a short knead because we're doing a longer rise. You can do less kneading, if that makes sense. Oh, we're not in the focus here. Okay, so get your little flour on your hands. And oh, this is such a nice dough. I want to keep it pretty soft, but we want to go ahead and if you feel like it's getting too sticky or it's sticking too much to your counter, go ahead and just pat it. We don't want to incorporate too much more to our measurements because that's going to end up making our dough a little bit too dense and tough. So I'm going to finish kneading. We're going to get this into a greased bowl. So I'm back, was at work a couple hours, came back, and our dough has completely risen and it has not fallen yet. If you let it over rise, it'll fall. Even on the second rise, you can't let it over rise or it's gonna fall. And this smells really good. I can smell the wheat, the nuttiness of the wheat, and I can smell the honey and the yeast. So exciting. So I've got my Pullman pan here, and I'm gonna put the whole thing in here and see what it looks like. I want it a little over halfway or halfway full for this to work. So you're gonna come in here with clean hands and deflate your dough, and your dough should not stick to you. And it's cold actually, but if it looks like it's gonna be too much dough for the Pullman, and I'm really hoping this is a good sandwich loaf. If it looks like it's too much, I'll take some out and make a couple rolls, or I might make a braid or something. We'll see. I'm hoping this is the perfect amount. I just gotta be able to grab it. And I'm not greasing my Pullman pan. So let me bring you in so I can show you what it looks like. Because some of you may or may not have these pans, and it's new to me too, so I'd like to give you the visual that I would like if I was watching someone with their Pullman pan to show you how to do it correctly, because they're a nice pan. Okay, so got our Pullman here. We're gonna go ahead with our dough, and I'm just gonna let it just slide right out of there. And I can tell the gluten's pretty well developed in this dough. It gets relaxed as it sits to rise, but you can, once you start having a little bit of experience with bread dough, you kind of learn to, oh, this is gonna be perfect. You learn to recognize a good dough. If that, hopefully that makes sense. You recognize that, oh, that one's got that, the gluten strands are well developed, and you don't want to break them. And I'm just doing this by what I've watched over on Heather's channel at the Kneading Homesteader. She has one of these. Kimmy she's in her apron. She's got Pullman bread pans, and I know she really likes them. And this right here is less than halfway, but by the time it rises, I think will be perfect. I'm gonna go ahead and put my lid on, and we're gonna let it proof, that second proof. And I don't wanna peek till it's time, but I'll probably look at it in about 40 minutes and see where it's at. As soon as it reaches the top, it's going in the oven. It's going in a 350-degree oven until it reaches 198 degrees internal temperature, or we are complete and done. And let me just tell you, when you smell baked bread, you're done. But it's truly going to be about maybe 35 minutes. All right, we'll be back. Okay, so it has been an hour, and I don't know if you can see, but I don't want to pull this lid off. Looky, looky, it's to the top. Can you see it? Ooh, it's gonna be my first perfect loaf in the Pullman pan, I can feel it trying to pull the dough. So the dough has risen to the top. This is gonna contain the dough. We're not gonna let it continue to rise. We're gonna put it in the oven, which is just about ready to hit 350. And we're gonna bake this off for 30 to 35 minutes, and then we're gonna bring you back, show you what it looks like, show you how easy it comes out of the pan, because this is non-stick. And people, I love this thing. And I have to tell you, I love making bread. Okay, people, I wanna tell you, one of my favorite things about this pan is when I look right here, and you can't read it because it's upside down, it says USA pan. I love that they're made here in the US. Okay, it smells like homemade bread. I had it in my oven a total of 35 minutes. I checked kind of peeky at 30 because I could smell it, but I went ahead. This is a big loaf of bread. Okay, let me, the moment of truth. I didn't peek. Oh, look at that. Oh my gosh. You guys, I have achieved a Pullman pan loaf, and I'm super excited. Woo! Oh, look it. It's brown. Crust is soft, but not wet or anything. Oh, I am super excited. I don't know if you guys can tell. And then I'm gonna show you how easy. It did not stick to the lid whatsoever. No dough is on my lid, not on the runner part, nothing. It steams that dough in here. I'm gonna have the perfect sandwich bread. And I have my friends out there, Kimmy and Heather and all you other girls that do Pullman loaves. My goodness, you've been such an inspiration. So I have to hopefully get this. And I think that it's actually a little bit connected right here on the edge, if that makes sense. Right there, I may have to cut through that. Okay, so learning curve is, if your bread comes up over that lip, even just a fraction, I mean, it's barely. I think next time I make this recipe, and I'm gonna make a note in my little recipe card, I'm gonna take out maybe a tablespoon, or let it stop proofing earlier. But here we go. I loosened it all around the edge, and we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go ahead and get this out. Oh my gosh, is that gorgeous? It is beautiful, and it's steamy. It's so pretty. And you can see, if you look down here, see that lip? That's what created that seal. So, just a little bit less dough or a little bit less rise time. So I'm gonna go ahead, this is really hot. Woo. And because of where I put the knife, it cut into it. But we're gonna let this cool completely, and it smells divine. I'm gonna let this cool completely, and then I'll bring you back when I cut into it and let you know what I think. And there really isn't a crust on this to speak of. So kids that don't like crust on their bread are gonna love this bread. Okay, here's the big reveal. Oh, I'm super excited. Yay! Look at how beautiful that is. That is beautiful. Now I will say, it to the touch, it's still a little bit warm. I probably should have let it go a little bit longer for the crumb factor. And the other reason, it smells, divine. The other reason you do that is you don't want it to dry out. So I don't want it to dry out. I'm gonna go ahead and bag this one to keep in the moisture, because the steam, and it's really not that warm, but it will retain that moisture in the bread bag. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that and put that. I'm not even gonna seal the bag yet. I'm just gonna close it up so I protect my beautiful crumb. And this one, oh my gosh. And you can slice these once they're cooled. Literally, you can slice them as thin as any sandwich bread. You just have to break that top crust. And the top crust got a little bit more crusty than the sides or the bottom. The bottom and sides don't really have a crust at all. It's just beautiful, and I can't cut straight, so there you go. Let's try another piece. I'm excited. If you are following these videos, you're seeing that you evolve in the bread making, you evolve in your equipment, and you actually get better at it. And this is perfectly not the most perfect loaf or the most perfect anything, but it's better than the last one. It's getting better each time. So let me put a little butter. Oh, ooh, and it's so soft. I just, yum. I'm so excited. I think it's too warm is what I think right now. It needs to cool a little further, but there's my close-up shot. I hope you can see that. And yum. Okay. Yeah, 'cause see, the butter's melting. It's got a little warmth to it. So your crumb would be a little bit different. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness, people. Oh, this is delicious. This is really good. I'm gonna leave that crust out. That's funny. This has that great honey flavor and wheat. It's absolutely delicious. You are expert bread makers out there, and I've been making bread my whole life, but I'm trying new techniques, trying to branch out and perfect my craft. And if you guys have done that before, you know that there's a learning curve, and I wanted to bring you along. So we don't always watch videos. Well, sometimes we watch videos where we think, oh, well, she knows exactly what she's doing, or he, and I'm not there right now. And so I want to let you know that I'm not there right now on some of these. I've got my tried and true recipes that I know, but I'm learning a new bread pan. I'm learning all new techniques, trying to go to the next level, if you will. And I'm super excited to bring you along for that. And I hope that you enjoy that. And if you do, you know, leave me a thumbs up, leave me a comment in the comment section. And we always appreciate any help we can get down there in that comment section. Not just me, there's other people watching that have questions that you might be able to answer. So if you have something, you know, that you can help us with bread, with fermenting dough, with any of that, go ahead and leave that in the comment section. All right, guys, I can't wait to see you next time. I hope you go check the links below. I will leave a link for the Pullman Pan. I'll leave a link for the King Arther cookbook, baking cookbook that I use. This didn't come out of there. This is one of mine that I do. But if you want to maybe even get a handy dandy, and let me tell you, this is the best. This is fantastic. I'm so glad I got this again. I had one of these and I loaned it out and then I never got it back. So you have to have one of these if you're going to mix dough. And yeah, go check it all out. Go check my Zaycon links. Be sure and check back frequently for our channel. If you haven't subscribed already, go subscribe. It's free. And right next to the subscribe button is a bell. Go click that bell and get notified whenever I upload a video.